welcome into another edition of It's Talladega. In case you're watching our program for the first time, this program is designed to talk about all the good positive things of a city called Talladega, the city that's open for business, and we're definitely open for business. In the past 3 years, we've seen so much progress being made. The town square is being rejuvenated, renovated. People are coming in and buying these buildings and renting these buildings, and it's a lot of progress. We have one facility, though, called the Ritz Theater, only maybe one of its kind in the world. We'll talk to George in just a minute and see if there's another one like that somewhere in the world. But we do have a special guest, and don't say, well, I haven't seen him before. You have seen him before, but you've not seen this program before. This is a new program, talking about all the good things that's going to be going on from now throughout the early part of next year. So don't you go anywhere. You just sit right there and lay back and watch George Cover as we talk about all the positive things going on in Talladega. Mr. George Cover.
Mayor, how you doing?
I'm fine.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Glad to be here as always.
Mr. George Cover is the executive director of the Ritz Theater, downtown Talladega, right straight across the street from the courthouse on the north side of the square. Would that be right?
The north quadrant.
North, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Look at this camera right here, George,
Okay.
and let's digress just a little bit and bring them up to date about what the Ritz Theater is, where it came from. Is this the only one in the world like that?
You know, it's very unique, and it's actually a national Art Deco landmark theater, and of course all of you know that vitrolite glass out front from that period, the 1930s. That was the architectural driving design period era of that time. When it was built and opened in 1936, what's unique is that vitrolite glass, that opaque structural glass that covers the entire front facade, which we've restored. And it's the only one in the country that has survived where every inch of the facade is that vitrolite glass. So it's very unique and very special, and Talladega and Talladega County, we're lucky to have it. It's a wonderful architectural
building. The building through the years was a theater,
right?
And of course,
cinema,
yeah.
Right.
And it was closed down, and a church congregation purchased it,
right? And
they kept it for a period of time and did a little bit of work on it. It was leaking, and it was just in disrepair. And they approached the city about the possibility of purchasing it, and we did. That was I believe it was my first. You remember the year? I can't remember. Anyway, it was somewhere in my first or second administration.
Early 90s, was it?
I think so. Could have been. Anyway, we purchased it, and different groups, George will have a name of different groups, it came in, worked together to bring it where it is now. It's been air conditioned, heating system put in, central heat, central cool. It's been renovated. Right. It's nice, it's first class, the acoustics are great there, and we're having a lot of shows. As a matter of fact, we'll take just a moment or two, George, if you will, and just bring the folks up there in case you're watching them for the first time. Great. Some of the entertainment that we've had here through the years.
Lordy mercy. Mickey Rooney, Don McLean, Preservation Hall Jazz Band, Vienna Boys Choir,
the two piano players.
Anderson and Rowe a couple years ago were tremendous.
Feet Don't Fail Me.
Feet Don't Fail Me. We had a lot of gospel, like the Harpers, Dove Brothers. You know, we've had really a lot of first-class performers, and all categories. If you look back at our history, we've had jazz, we've had music, we've had dance. Alvin Ailey has been, two companies been there.
The history
theater,
of the music up in North Alabama. They showed the film.
Yeah, we did that film, Muscle Shoals, last year.
Muscle Shoals.
Percy Sledge has actually performed there.
Recently, Jekyll and Hyde.
Just had Jekyll and Hyde, the Broadway show, couple of weeks ago.
March
it was tremendous.
4th.
March 4th, that was last. In this fall season, they were tremendous. They did the theme song for Monsters University, the big, Disney animated hit a couple of years ago. And then we've got some pretty good things coming up this next week. We're kind of culminating our fall activities. Kicking off Thursday night, I would love for our audience here in Talladega to know and remind them, I'm sure everybody's heard it by now, but we're revitalizing our Marquee Gospel series, and we're really blessed and lucky to have been able to get Guy Penrod, who's one of the top touring artists in Christian music today. Many of you will know or remember he was the lead singer for the Gaither vocal band for about 14 years.
Right.
Just tremendous voice and a great guy and great personality.
That'll be Thursday night.
That'll be Thursday night, and we still have a few. Those tickets have really gone fast. We still have some tickets, and we encourage people to think about coming. Of course, there's not a bad seat in the theater.
No, they're all.
Our acoustics are great.
It's elevated floor.
It's a pitched floor.
Unless you get a hold of some woman or some man that's got on a big old hat or a big hairdo, you can see great.
Hey, this is something I'll share with people, and you mentioned a while ago about the acoustics. When we opened the Ritz as a regional performing arts center after almost $1 million of renovation, including the purchase price of the city, with all the new lights and the sound and the carpets and whatever, the marquee restored, the front facade restored, everything. Our first event was the string quintet of the National Symphony Orchestra. The National Symphony was doing a residency in Alabama. They do one state a year. And then they send some of the components of the orchestra out to small towns. And we were able to pull off getting one of those ensembles. And it was the string quintet of the National Symphony Orchestra. And this was a big deal. Everybody came. This is the opening night, so on and so forth. And it was wonderful. And you got to really like classical music. Some people do, some people don't. But afterwards, a couple of those musicians came up to me and they said, "George, you don't know what you have here." They said, "We've performed in virtually every major concert hall in America, including Carnegie Hall, and your acoustics are superb." So who knew? I mean, we didn't have a big highfalutin acoustician in there helping design that.
Run that by me again.
Acoustician. I think that's an acoustic technician or scientist or something like that.
We've never heard those words in the British folks, so
So an acoustic technician.
George is talking over my head.
But the key is, just almost by accident. Of course, you see, they always say in acoustics the rectangular space is better, and of course the Ritz is a rectangular kind of space. You have these round spaces or
the sound goes round.
Yeah, it just doesn't work right. You need that rectangular shape. But then there are other elements, some of which I don't understand. But he just said your acoustics are great, and that meant primarily for not necessarily electrical instruments, but acoustic instruments. So that's the natural sound. Speaking, you can just almost be talking on from the stage, and you can hear people in the back row. So we're real proud of that. That's a real asset. And the Ritz itself is an asset for the community. And to be able to do those kind of things.
We're fortunate to have this type facility. George is bringing in shows that you normally would not see, maybe except Birmingham or Atlanta or New York or California or somewhere.
Or New York.
Some foreign country somewhere, across the borderline. But George has been successful in bringing him right here. George knows everybody.
Well,
everybody, every entertainment. And if he don't know them, he'll learn them and he'll get them in here.
I'll run them down. I'll wear them. I wear them down. Sometimes we'll be very ambitious about a show we can't afford it. And I won't stop, and I'll call them back, and I say, "Oh, come on, you got this Talladega. We got a great theater. You got to find a hole for us and sneak us in this tour." So we find a way.
And we got so much to talk about on here that's coming up. We'll come back and rehash these two programs Thursday and Friday night.
So Thursday night, of course, is just to repeat that Thursday night is Guy Penrod.
Right.
Tickets are $18, which is great, and $10 for students. And there's some left, so don't let him get out of town without seeing him. We got
now you might mention
he's terrific.
You can have a special meeting with him.
Well, that's unfortunately sold out. He allowed us to have 50 tickets that we could set aside center front, and he's going to do a meet and greet for like an hour, 45 minutes before the show. A little more personal, up close. And those tickets, they were sold in 2 days. People love him and his fans.
You should have had 100 tickets.
I wish, but you can only make it personable if it's a limited number of people. Now, after the show, I think he's going to be selling some CDs and he'll be signing those, and there'll be an opportunity to meet him, but not
a personal.
To have a finger sandwich and a cup of tea and chat with him a minute. It won't be that opportunity. Unfortunately, those tickets are sold out.
That's next Thursday night.
That's this coming Thursday
Right.
night. Yeah, next Thursday night.
And then
Friday
the
is the
next night.
culmination of the season. Is and again, Mayor, we're very lucky to pull this one off. We've got Black Jacket Symphony. Now, a lot of you folks have probably been reading about Black Jacket Symphony, especially they're out of Birmingham, but they're becoming amazingly popular and in demand throughout the Southeast. I actually just saw them, Mayor, last Saturday night at the Alabama Theater in Birmingham. And
That's a big organization.
Sold out,
Yeah.
2,500 seats. So this is how popular this group is and how lucky we are to have them in Talladega.
It says here the Beatles, Abbey Road.
Let me tell you, let me explain to everybody Black Jacket Symphony.
Perform live in its entirety.
Perform live. But they believe, they have this philosophy that the great rock albums of the last 50 years, from the Beatles to today, is the classic music of our era. And they approach it with that kind of seriousness.
There it is on the screen there.
Absolutely. And they approach it with that kind of seriousness that they pull the musicians together that can recreate the sound as it came out of the recording studio, which is amazing.
That's unreal.
And if you're sitting there listening to a Black Jacket Symphony concert, you think you are listening to the group live. They are amazing. And we're lucky, and maybe we'll have them again. We've got to show success with this one. But we thought no group in the last 50 years have been more important or more influential than the Beatles.
Now let me, an old country boy.
And we're doing their last album, which is that Abbey Road, that magnificent Abbey Road album.
Being backwoods myself. The Black Jacket.
I'm from Munford.
Well,
can't get more backwoods.
We're almost kinfolk. Black Jacket. I know what Black Jacket says, and I know what I would think it means.
Yeah.
Does that mean they're wearing black jackets?
It means they're wearing a black blazer. It's not a tuxedo.
Okay.
Just, they all. In other words, the point is that it's as neutral as possible. They don't get up there and try to put on costumes and talk like the Beatles or try to look like the Beatles. They're focusing on the Beatles' music.
On the music itself.
And here's how the concert runs. The first half, the first set, will be a recreation of the album Abbey Road, which is the Beatles' last album as an ensemble, as a group. Then the second half, they'll do Beatles' greatest hits. So it'll be a nice evening to relive. I mean, we've all experienced the Beatles at various opportunities and instances in our life for the last 50 years, so it'll be a terrific concert. Trust me, first class. There's still some seats left. We want to encourage people to come out. Tickets are $22, and the students are 18. Remember, we always have a group opportunity at the Ritz, group discount, and for groups of 5 or more, you take another $2 off each ticket. So get your couple of 2 or 3 couples together and have a very affordable night of first-class music and entertainment. So that's coming up this week at the Ritz.
If you want to call in and get your tickets, reserve your tickets, or call and make arrangements to get your ticket, 256-315-000, 315-000, or you can go online, www.ritztalladega.com.
You can actually get your tickets online now, and we have a new ticketing system, and you can pull it up and see what seats are available, choose your own seats, and buy them on the spot. So we're kind of getting high tech there now. We had to get into the 21st century, so we're kind of proud about that.
We will come back to these Thursday and Friday night events in just a little bit, but this past week you had about 1,500, 2,000 students?
Exactly. About 13, actually the count was 1,307 students, and they were second and third graders from the city and county schools. And we brought in Birmingham Children's Theater to do The Wizard of Oz. And see, that's the payoff to me. I mean, when you see these kids walking out of the theater after they've seen a live performance, a lot of them is the first time they've seen a live performance on stage, a full musical kind of thing. It's amazing. And we were real proud of that. And we have Friends of the Ritz, and we do fundraisers every year, and all that money helps us with the big shows too. But we have a priority with arts education at the Ritz, that we feel like we've got to utilize the arts and collaborate with the schools and the boards of education to work with students and that kind of thing. So we're real proud of that. We had 4 performances of Wizard of Oz. Interesting about Wizard of Oz, people might find this interesting. This is the 75th anniversary. The movie came out in 1939, and I had fun talking to the kids. It was Wednesday and Thursday. We had performances at 8:45 and 10:30 both days, and I'd welcome them up at the beginning and stuff, and I'd ask them, how many's seen The Wizard of Oz? And every hand in the auditorium, all the kids, that's a classic that most kids have seen. And I asked him, I said, now what color was Dorothy's shoes? And everybody said red. I said, you know, in the original novel, her shoes were not red. But this being movie in 1939, Technicolor just came out. They wanted to put some bright colors in the movie. And so they made her slippers red. The slippers were actually silver in the novel. And in the play we did, which was an adaptation of the original novel, the slippers were silver, which was kind of a fun kind of connection. The kids got a kick out of it. And the show was such that they kind of included the kids in the auditorium as the Munchkins. So it was a fun day. And I think the teachers loved it. They utilized the study guides, which were very serious, curriculum relevant. This is not taking the kids out and bringing them to a magician show. This is very curriculum relevant. And the study guide follows the state guidelines for course of study, literary arts. So it was very productive for all involved, and we're very, very proud of those achievements. And we've done this over the years. Since we've been operating as a performing arts center for 18 years now, people in town will remember, we've always had these important school programs, and they're just one of the most vital parts of the activity there is.
Folks, you see now why I said that we're fortunate in Talladega to have George Culver. Can you believe that this man, with all of his knowledge and all of his expertise, came out of Munford?
Yeah.
I mean, see, folks, you ought to be proud. You ought to have a George Culver Day in Munford and have a parade downtown.
Well, it's a great one.
And recognize it is.
We're right at the foot of the tallest mountain in the state. We've got a lot of distinctive.
One of the best communities in our county.
It's great, and I love the folks up there.
But in all seriousness, George he's a very much plus for our city, and we're just honored to have him in his capacity, and promotes.
It's my honor.
Talladega. And anytime we have a group in here, folks, from wherever, they go off and talk about Talladega. Yeah. You never know when people are going to say, well, I want to go to Talladega and see what's going on there.
Mayor, you know what? I mean, that's not an exaggeration. The truth of the matter is, you know, we've got some shortcomings versus some of the fancier theaters and stuff, but we make up for it. We always give all our
Southern
home-cooked
Southern
meal.
hospitality.
I mean, we pull it out with homemade desserts and homemade entree and fresh vegetables, and I mean, and the artists are usually not treated like that when they go to, you know, XYZ town.
New York and
they leave Talladega, they say, thank you so much for your hospitality. And people, sometimes they'll be on another show and come back and they'll remember how well they were treated at the Ritz. And it pays off, because they get in the performance and they say, hey, let's give these guys the best show possible, you know, because sometimes, you know, our stage can't accommodate a big set piece, you know, and, you know, we've got some limitations. We're not the fabulous Fox of Atlanta, you know. We've got some limitations. So that's funny that you mentioned that, but it's true. I mean, that's really part of our philosophy. I mean, give them Southern hospitality like they're not used to, and they'll remember it, and it'll pay off on the stage.
I tell them when I welcome folks to our race, this may not be the biggest area in the world, but you will not be treated any better than you'll be treated right here in Talladega. And we've got some other things we're going to be talking about, but we also want to mention our top trails, four-wheeler park, 2,800-acre park. That thing is going great guns.
Right.
We've got the shooting complex will be opening up hopefully March, April of next year. Talladega is on the verge of becoming a destination point for your vacation. Cheehaw Mountain, the DeSoto Caverns, all of our things we got here, the racetrack, the lakes. You could come here and spend a week and still not see it all. So it's thanks to George Culver, Ritz Theater, and all of our good things surrounding our area here. Talladega College, Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind. We've got so much going on.
Major resources,
right.
Major assets.
Talladaga's on the move, and I'm just proud to be a part of it. George, let's talk about, of course, the building on the square. A lot of the buildings are being purchased. We've just sold 2 more buildings on the square. And when I took over as mayor in three years ago, the town looked like a ghost town to some degree. But since that time, people are beginning to get enthused about the Ritz, and they purchasing the building and adding on. And then all of a sudden, they said, well, hey, I believe I want on the square. Or me too. And now you're seeing all kind of activity. I think we got 3, possibly 4 buildings on the square that has either not been renovated or not in the process of being renovated. And I think that's just a matter of time.
That's very positive.
Heritage Hall Jazz Band is coming up.
Yeah, now, of course.
Well, let's back up just a minute. Before we do that, we'll go back to these 2 shows in just a minute.
Yeah.
We've got the Talladega College will be having their Christmas cantata. Usually they have it at the college.
And they wanted to come downtown. And
This year
we
they're
said,
gonna
come
have-
on, we'll find you a date.
It's
And
on
we did.
a Tuesday night, maybe. Don't hold me to that.
No, I think it's actually.
It's not on a weekend.
Well, it may.
It's not on a Sunday night,
I'm sorry,
excuse
and we'll have these posted on our new website, www.TalladegaRich.com, within a week. We just had to get through the season.
Right.
We've been very busy, and it's not like we have a staff of 30. But we got a real busy Christmas season. We always do, and it's just going to be rich. Talladega College Choir.
Normally they have a cantata at the college auditorium.
At that beautiful
Chapel.
chapel.
But this time they've seen
wanted
fit
to come downtown.
to the Ritz Theater, and I understand it is going to be. It's not going to be on a Sunday night, in other words. Yeah. So everyone that normally goes to church on Sunday night will have an opportunity to come out. And this college choir is awesome, folks. I'm telling you.
They're great. They're truly great.
And they've got close to 100 members, 75 to 100 members. And they've got a band second to none. They're making all kind of showings all over the world.
Yeah.
It's
They're a marching band.
3 years they've been in operation. They've got almost 300
members. Let me tell you what
members.
makes me jealous about that. I mean, they're so great. We'd love to have them at our Mardi Gras parade, of course, every year. But they're so great.
They're being sought out
They're getting
everywhere.
demanded. They have to go to New Orleans, where the real big Mardi Gras parades are. So that's a shame. We can't have that. But yeah, they're terrific. But the choir is magnificent. Have a rich tradition, and we're very honored to be able to host a concert this year.
The
Of course,
Pole
we got
Express.
Heritage Hall Jazz Band coming back.
Right.
This will be their 10th. I think this is their 10th year. Some of the best musicians in the county.
You remember the date of that one right offhand? I don't.
I don't. It's the first Sunday in December, though. It kicks off sort of the Christmas season. A lot of the band directors and retired band directors around the county are in that band. I mean, they're first-class musicians, and so you're going to get a great Christmas concert there.
Christmas parade's the first Monday in December.
That's correct.
And if you want to be a part of this, you need to contact the Chamber of Commerce or the folks who are involved in it. Maybe George. Contact
No,
me.
it's a chamber.
It's a Chamber of Commerce function. That's the first Monday night in December, and they are taking applications now or signing up for the parade.
Right. First Family is going to have a benefit. They're screening the film Pole Express coming up, and that's going to be great to bring the kids out. I think everybody's going to come in pajamas, and it'll be all kind of fun, So that's like the old days, going to see a movie at the Ritz. So that's coming up, and gosh, that's all I can think of right now. But
Mardi Gras is coming up in
that shoots
another year.
Actually, Mardi Gras this year, Talladega, we always do our celebration of Mardi Gras on the Saturday before Fat Tuesday, when it all ends. This year, the Saturday before Fat Tuesday happens to be February the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, which will be a great opportunity. So we'll have the big parade in Talladega. It keeps getting bigger every year, by the way, and we're very proud of that. Last year we had about 8,000 people came out and enjoyed that parade. And then, of course, we had the Mardi Gras Gala at the Speed Channel Dome after that Saturday night.
Very successful.
As a fundraiser for the Ritz, which helps pay for these things like the kids coming to the theater. And by the way, those kids coming to the theater, not one penny. We will not let a child pay 1 penny to come to an arts education event at the Ritz. So we have to find money to underwrite that. So that's what the Mardi Gras Gala does, or helps do. So that's coming up in February. And then the spring, we'll have another season. It's a little early yet to announce it.
It's not too early. Let them plan for it.
I'm still, maneuvering. We have to negotiate and beg. And
that will be for 4th through 6th grade.
In the spring, our arts education initiative for the spring. Now we just had the fall one, and that was targeting 2nd, 3rd graders with Wizard of Oz. In the spring, we were going to have 6 performances of Play to Win, the Jackie Robinson story.
That's a great story.
It's a great story. Very inspiring, and we'll be targeting 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, city and county at that. So, and that'll probably be 2,200 kids, 2,300 kids. So we're really looking forward to that coming up this spring. Again, the season's too early to announce, but I can give you a hint. We have booked, which will be sort of a foundation piece in the spring, is a national tour of the adaptation of F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby. So to have the story of The Great Gatsby, the production, first class professional production of The Great Gatsby on our stages, great. I mean, what little town with 1,700 people's got a National Tour of Great Gatsby on their stage, right?
I guarantee you, we're
and we all
proud.
had to read it sometime, whether in school or college or something. So it'll be fun. I think it'll be great. It'll be one of those kind of things that all you parents that have kids that are like middle school and high school, and be one of those opportunities to bring them to the Ritz to real get a first class experience.
If you're not sure of what we're talking about, if you've just tuned in, the Ritz Theater is downtown in the middle of the square in Talladega, Alabama.
It's the heartbeat of the square.
It's the heartbeat of the square, right across the street from the courthouse on the north side. It's easy found. Everybody knows where the Ritz is. And if you've never been to the Ritz, not been to one of these plays, we welcome you to come in from wherever you live. It's well worth the drive, and the tickets. If these plays was in New York or Birmingham or something, you'd probably be paying twice the amount of money per ticket that you would pay here.
Because we understand we have to keep it affordable,
right?
You know, so that's how we try to. We have to supplement the cost of these things with the drawdown that we have at the track in the summer, and the Mardi Gras Gala we have in February, our two big fundraisers every year. Because we know we want to keep the prices as affordable as possible for the broadest possible audience. So,
what can we seat roughly? 550, the balcony and the main floor.
Actually, 500 is the capacity. 5, give or take 10. There's a sightline problem sometimes, maybe in the back of the house or up in the corners of the balcony, but largely, there's not a bad seat in the house.
Oh, I know it.
And so our you know, by the way, when we have the kids in there, I won't go over 400 just for emergency purposes, and you know, just don't want a house full of kids and have it packed. You know, we keep it not totally full, but we can, you know, Black Jacket. You know, we could put 490 people in there Friday night.
If we can get the fire marshals out of town for some reason, we might can get a few more in there. Don't y'all tell the fire marshal I said that.
Hey, we love them. They have been so great. We were a little delayed in getting our sprinkler system inspected, and it came to our attention, and we went to the fire chief and said, "Chief, we need help." And he said, "Don't worry about it. We'll have some fire guards there." And every show we've had in the last week or so, we've had 2 firemen standing there on guard.
And a policeman right there.
And well, with the kids getting out of the buses, we had the policemen there. So, gosh, we appreciate the city and with the police department and the fire department and their collaboration and working with us. It's really, really, really.
George, we got another. When you got George covered on your program, you don't have to worry about saying a whole lot. George just takes it and runs, and I really appreciate it. No, I appreciate it.
I talk too much.
No, you don't talk enough.
I'm always promoting.
Let's talk about this coming Thursday night, the
Guy Penrod
13th.
Yeah, 13th.
November the 3rd. That's not a Friday. That's a Thursday the 13th, so it's okay to come on out.
That's Thursday night.
Tell them again.
And Guy Penrod, literally one of the most in-demand musicians in Christian music today. On tour, we're lucky to have him. People say, "How'd you get him?" I said, "I don't know. We just worked at it." And we're thrilled to have Guy Penrod Thursday night, 7 o'clock performance. There's still a few. His tickets are sold well, and there's some left. Tickets are 18 for adults, 10 for students, and we have a group discount for 5 or more with $2 off each ticket. So think about that. If you really love gospel music and Christian music, you're not going to see a better concert.
That's Thursday night.
Anywhere than you'll
Thursday
see
night, the
Thursday
13th.
Night.
The next night on Friday night, 14th, we got about a minute, George.
Symphony.
Got about a minute.
Black Jacket Symphony doing the Beatles' Abbey Road will be Act 1. Act 2 will be the greatest hits of the Beatles. And so go back down memory road with some of the best musicians in America. I just saw Black Jacket at the Alabama, as I said, with 2,500 people last Saturday night. We are lucky to have them in Talladega. They are all over the place, and we have them in Talladega. So come out and support us and see this incredible show. Mayor, thank you.
If you need or want a ticket, you can dial 256-315-0000. That's very easy to remember. All you got to remember just 315 and then plug in the 0.
Absolutely.
That's this coming Thursday night, and then Friday night, 2 great nights right here in Talladega.
And you get tickets online too.
Right.
At www.talladega.
I appreciate
RitzTalladega.com.
George covering all the folks who've been involved in our theater, and I appreciate George being with us. See you next time.
Mayor, thank you.
You did a great job.
Appreciate it. Good.